Are you ready to learn the one skill that's going to take you from being an amateur in this business to a professional? That skill is learning how to establish the gap. It is truly what separates amateurs and professionals in our business. I know when I learned this skill, it's where things switched from me feeling like I was constantly having to run after people, trying to convince them to watch videos and following up, to them actually pursuing me and asking me for information. And this skill comes up when we are prospecting. So let's talk about the things that need to happen when you are prospecting. First of all, you need to be thinking about who am I talking to every single day and learning what am I actually supposed to be saying. So let's dial into who it is that you're going to be talking to. I see this really as having 3 lanes. I've been working this business for about 10 years and I've gotten to run in all of these lanes, and I can tell you that one's not better than the other. They all have pros, they all have cons, and really the one that works best is the one that you're going to work consistently, because they all work. You can find a diamond or above that's worked any of these avenues, and the best one for you is the one that's going to excite you and get you up every single day going and doing this and sharing the story of ASEA. So if we think about the first lane are people that you already know. So maybe you're working in your warm market. The second lane is social media. And I always say, be careful with social media. You can really spread yourself too thin if you're trying to learn all the platforms. My suggestion is go deep on one. I know plenty of people that have built massive businesses off just one platform. So don't get distracted by all the shiny objects out there. Get really good at one and then maybe go to another platform. And the third lane you can run is in-person networking. Now, this might be you joining your local business community, your chamber of commerce, or you just might do the 3-foot rule and talk to everyone that comes within 3 feet of you. Whatever it is, it has to do with building in your local community. So my suggestion to you would be to pick your lane and then just know if a challenge comes in place or there is a hurdle, it doesn't mean you chose the wrong path. All right, let me just share a brief story with you. When I first started this business, I did lane 3. I was doing in-person networking, and I went to my local chamber of commerce. I had just left a great convention, my first one, and I was pumped up, excited. I had check in hand. I went to go join the chamber, and what they said to me was, Danielle, you have a home-based business. That's not a real business, and you cannot join. Now, I could have easily gone home and just curled up into a ball and said, this isn't meant to be. The universe is clearly putting a block in my path. I'm supposed to go a different way. But instead, I just said, well, they don't see my value. They don't understand what I'm trying to do. And I found another chamber of commerce 45 minutes north. I went there. I had a referral before I left the meeting. My first time there, I was able to close thousands of dollars of business through connections I made in that chamber. I became an ambassador for that chamber, and it really set me up with the right mentors and people that taught me how to build a business. So what I will say to you is this. Look, stop bouncing around. So many people go down one path a little bit, they run into a challenge, they hop to the next one. I'm going to suggest that you stay in your lane for a year. Head down, blinders on. If you're doing social media and Facebook is the one you're going for, if there's a training on LinkedIn, don't go to it. If someone's having success on TikTok, don't think you're doing something wrong, right? Stay focused, stay in your lane, and embrace the challenges, okay? The challenges are coming. They're coming on every path, and they're coming because there's either a skill set that you haven't learned yet that you're needing to learn, and you're getting the opportunity to learn, or there's a mindset that you have to come over, like I did, where it was like, look, you can't tell me no. I'm going to find a way. I will find a path. That's what's required here, and then just consistent effort, you will see results. All right. Now, whichever lane you're in, you're going to be building relationships. That is what this business is all about. So some things to think about. Be more interested than interesting in all of your conversations. All right. Be the one asking the questions. The person who asks the questions is actually the one that's in control of the conversation. And you want to be present. You want to be curious. You are authentically connecting, yes, but you're also having a conversation with an agenda. And that is something we will talk about more in a moment. So now that you're clear on the lane that you're running in, and you're going to stay in your lane for a year, the question becomes, well, what am I supposed to be saying, right? And if you're like me, when I first began this business, I didn't know what to say. I was shaken just to talk to people. I was such an introvert. I would turn red. It was awful. But now we are so blessed because when we are in doubt, we can just ask AI for advice. Now, AI is amazing. All right, so when you're wondering, what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to do? Here's an idea. This is a great prompt. So this prompt says, I struggle with starting conversations with strangers on Facebook or in my new women's group, right? And it's stopping me from building my business. Please help me. Now, AI is like a brain that is pulling from the best sales training, the best network marketing that is out there, trainers in network marketing, pulling from their content, pulling from personal development content. It's pulling all of these things together. So it's going to be able to tell you why you're having this challenge and then give you advice on how to overcome it. All right, another possible prompt is, hey, I want to build trust with my new connections on LinkedIn or in my new B&I chapter. What are the top 5 trust building questions I can ask that people actually want to answer? All right, the idea is not for you to go out there and sound like a robot. People can tell if you copy paste from ChatGPT. All right, but the idea is for you to learn from the robot. All right, just learn some basics about how to ask questions that people actually want to ask. So then when you're out there and you're talking to people, you are going to be practicing this in real time. It's going to start to feel natural. And understand this, the purpose of these conversations that you're having and asking these questions is, of course, to get to know people authentically and build relationships, but you're also listening for their pain point. This is how we establish the gap. All right, you are listening for someone's current state that's not their desired state. All right, that's the gap. This might be around someone's health, right? They recently hurt their knee, or it might be around their finances, or a lack of purpose, or limited time freedom. Maybe they just had to miss their kid's soccer game. So you're asking and you're trying to figure out what's currently not working for them, right? What problem are they having and where are they trying to go? And it is huge to establish where it is they're trying to go, because when you then ask them the question to see if they're interested in ASEA, you can phrase it in a way that it hits the pain point. And so this is where everything shifts. This is where amateurs and professionals kind of differentiate, because now they believe you can solve my problem. All right. And so that is going to cause them to move toward you versus feeling like, oh my God, they're trying to sell me something, and they move away from you. This is the process of someone realizing, hey, I need you more than you actually need me. The energy dynamic switches in a big way. And so you can position ASEA, when you do this properly, as the vehicle that is going to take them from their current state to the desired state. And we do this when we ask the question. Now, all of us are out there asking the question. And if you're listening in your conversations and you found the pain point, maybe it's around their health, right, their knee, you could say something like, hey, you mentioned to me you're having an issue with your knee, and you're having a lot of discomfort. A few of my friends had a similar issue. They started using something that had absolutely no side effects, and they're feeling so much better. Would you be interested in taking a look at it or learning about it? Right? You're talking about their pain point. They're like, wow, you're going to solve this for me, and they move towards you. Or if it's around the business, you might say, hey, I know this seems a bit random, but the more we talk, the more I can't help but think you would be interested in this project that I'm working on. I'm building supplemental income around my existing schedule. You can do the same thing. So it can be, just having less financial pressure on your family. That's what I'm helping people create, and creating for myself. Is that something you'd like to learn about? No big deal if not. I just thought I would ask. Right? So exactly what you're going to say is going to depend on the conversation. That's why I'm not huge on scripts, because you need to be paying attention and authentically connecting and finding this. And so rather than giving you, scripts on this, because you can ask the question in 100 different ways, I'm going to tell you where you can go for advice. And that is, of course, to ask AI. So you can literally specifically say, hey, I'm struggling to ask the question to my prospects to see if they are open to finding out more about my product. Please help me. Here's what we've talked about so far. You can literally copy and paste an entire conversation from Messenger or from your text messages, so we can see what's been said and can help you with where to take the conversation next, how to guide it, how to ask the question. Or if this is, someone that you know personally, you can tell them how you know them, what you've talked about, so you can, again, figure out where to guide the conversation. And this is huge, because in conversations, guys, you will either learn or you will earn. You're going to learn from them and get better by asking questions and, oh, no, I didn't do that well. Okay, maybe next time I should have done this. Or you're earned, because you're becoming more and more professional, and you're getting better and better at this, and you're growing your business. All right, so when you get this right, I promise you the rest of it becomes so easy, because they want to understand more deeply if, in fact, you truly have the thing that is going to close the gap, that is going to take them to their desired state. And the truth of the matter is, if you're not good at this and you're like, Danielle, it sounds kind of hard to have these conversations and find the pain point, well, you're going to be having to ask the conversation eventually anyway. We all do. That's how we get interest in ASEA. And once someone says yes, right? I am sure you've gotten someone that says, yes, send me information. And most of us, when we get that, it's like, oh my gosh, we've got a fish, on the hook. We're trying to reel them in and we start kind of freaking out. Like, what am I supposed to do? And we scramble. Like, I got to find the best video and the best testimonial so they totally get it, that matches their situation exactly. And what I want to tell you is just pause, breathe. And before you go send information, I want you to establish the gap. I want you to actually figure out, is this person a suspect or a prospect? A suspect is someone that's just being nice. They're saying yes because they don't want to offend you, but they're not actually genuinely interested. They're not actually going to look at the information, and it's going to be a pain following up with them. Versus a prospect who has genuine interest. Now, you can do this through asking some basic questions like, hey, so what makes you interested in learning more? What has you curious and wanting to learn more about this? The person with the knee, if they've got a knee issue and they're like, yeah, I want to learn more. You can establish the gap further by saying, well, sure, I'm going to find a video to send you some information, but I'm curious, what's it going to mean for you if we can get your knee working again? How's it going to change things? And maybe they say, oh, I'm finally going to be able to get to my swing dancing class. We do ballroom dancing and my poor partner hasn't had a partner for weeks now and I miss the community, right? So you're getting them in their emotional state, in their desired state. And guys, emotions buy. And so when we can get people into this state, the follow-up becomes a lot easier too, because now we can say, hey, do you see how Redox Gold is going to be able to help you get back to dancing faster? And we're dialed into their pain point. We're thinking about that desired state when we follow up, which makes it so much easier. All right. So what I want for you to do is think about the conversations you're having, the people that have said yes. And if you don't know how to ask these qualifying questions, how to establish the gap here, when in doubt, you just ask AI. All right, so here's a prompt you can use. You can say, hey, I have someone interested to find out more about my business. What are 3 questions I could ask, one after the other, to ensure they are serious and are an actual qualified prospect? All right, you are so well positioned with AI as a resource to you that is free. If you treat it as if you've invested thousands of dollars in marketing, in coaching, they're giving you, ChatGPT and these other AIs are giving you incredible advice so you can fly. All right, so my challenge to you is to go out there and talk to 3 new people. And when you're talking to them, listen for that pain point, the current state, their desired state, establish the gap with them, because I promise you, when you help people get to their desired state, you will get to your desired state in your business.